Go ahead again. You can just sit down on the bed or whatever.
Didn't listen to me then, I bet they feel me now. Time don't let me lose it. The booth not about to prove it. I set goals and pursue it. You the best to never do it. Invest my money, talking fluent, stupid, ducking the Judas. It broke my heart, but over my eyes, you have no honor, I have no choice. Chasing the commas till I'm a goner. Been left for a minute. On my way home, mama, I promise, got caught up in it. Damn. Everybody eats when I'm batting at the plate. First, second, third, home, $1 million base.
Really? I definitely feel you. Ladies and gentlemen, we live.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
That Hotep Jesus dude. That Hotep
Hotep, you're a genius. 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 HotepJesus.com.
Oh, baby. Y'all see who I got on the show. It's about to get lit. Turn up for the turn up. Olivia, what up?
What's up? Thank you for having me. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Is this the first time we've had a one-on-one here? Because I know we've brought you on for election coverage. I want to say it's the first time I've had you on solo.
I think so.
Wow. Wow, this is going to be epic. Obviously, we're going to discuss breaking news topics chat. We're going to be talking about, I think his name is Tyree. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the mic warm. Liv hasn't seen the video yet. Liv going to watch the video live right now. You're going to be able to watch her expression as she goes through this tape. I want you to play the tape right now and watch it. I really want to get your take on this. Let me handle the business. While you doing that, I'm going to handle business. I'm going to handle promo. We're going to talk promo. HotepJesus.com, as you already know. You heard it.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Sponsored by Syscoin. Syscoin has, they got a couple of moves they've made and moves that they got coming up. Absolute game changers. Absolute game changers. They got $10,000 right now if you really want to be on your geek stuff. You really want to get geeked out. They're giving away $10,000 right now. You run your own node and you get passive income off of it. Your passive earnings, I should say, for being a part of the Syscoin ecosystem. That's a 10K giveaway happening right now. They got the technology that's moving NFTs. If you want to get into NFTs, we just know today the Los Angeles County or California, I forget which one it is, but Cali's got some situation where their crypto, I think it's going off of it's a Tezos fork or something like that. And the Tezos fork is basically going to be used for DMV purposes, licenses, titles of cars, etc., etc. So Syscoin is our sponsor. Shout out to Syscoin. They got some new things on the horizon coming. Absolutely amazing. If you guys didn't see my video, go check out my video with Syscoin Miami. What else is going on? We got some things happening over at Rumble. I'm talking to the Rumble team. I have to send over an email tomorrow. Great news, great new announcements coming between the Hoteps and Rumble. So I want you to look out for that news. Grifties just dropped. Grifties.com, 3rd annual Grifties. If you didn't see it, you got to go watch it. I'll be honest with you, Alex Stein absolutely stole the show. Absolutely stole the show. We shot and filmed this some weeks ago. The show was pretty much done in November, I want to say. And then me and Unc just basically filled in our parts. So yeah, that was a really fun, amazing project. Olivia was also presenting. She was a presenter this year. Obviously, a great reason to have her on the channel. If you want to contribute, you want to stop grifting, Cash App, Hotep Jesus, or you could super chat on here, give YouTube 30%. It's up to you. I don't mind. All money, good money, except for money coming from bad people. You know what I'm saying? So reinvest in the channel, reinvest in the voices you believe in. Also, as you already know, best thing for you right now is to go to trymasterfocus.com. Go there right now. Get yourself in the program. Become a client of Master Focus. We're talking about nootropics. Basically things to get the neurons firing in that cranium of yours. Start activating neural networks. Building out dendrites, balancing the hormones in the brain, etc., etc. Basically designed for memory, focus, quick recall. I like to call it the productivity pill for players. That's what I like to call it, the productivity pill for players, and not for NPCs. Because if you're gonna take this stuff and not be proactive with it, don't take it. I gotta be honest with you. That's what I've been thinking about a lot lately. If you're not gonna really like power through your days, don't take it, because you're not gonna find much benefit. You know, unless you're gaming, you could probably, if you're gaming, you're gonna be more focused. You know, more into things. So trymasterfocus.com. Liv, you watch the tape.
I really wish I didn't. That's kind of what back before we went live, I was telling Hotep how I had purposely not watched it. I'm really over the trauma porn. And honestly, like, it's a little traumatizing. I think we're in the age of overinformation, overexposure to things that the human brain was just not supposed to be exposed to. You know, obviously throughout history, there's been millions, hundreds of millions of tragedies, but during a lifetime, people would only see a few of them, typically. And we're in this age where we're seeing gore, violence, crime from around the world. And so I just sat there and wiped my tears because I was really disgusting and really, really just I watched, I know there's like 3 or 4 parts. I watched a 10-minute compilation of several different angles put together. I just kind of scanned through it because some parts were actually very hard to watch, but it was the part where, first of all, the cops are like calling him nigga. They're like, get his ass. And I said to Jordan earlier, because my boyfriend Patriot J, he was writing a Breitbart article about it, so he had to watch the video. And so I was hearing the audio throughout the house. And I told him, I was like, if you're hearing a cop say get his ass a nigga, you're probably gonna die, because that is just so out of pocket. That is just, and then hearing him scream, mom, that's when I started to tear up, for people wondering what part it was. That was a part, because that was horrific.
So you mentioned trauma porn. I gotta take it right now as you're probably sensitive to watching this stuff. That's why it's especially hard for you to watch it. I actually regret having.
It's not trauma porn for me, but for other people.
For other people, right? But it's trauma porn, the industry, but it really affects you when you watch that kind of stuff.
Even if you think that you're not getting affected by it, I think it really. Sorry, my light is fucking up, but it really affects something, I think, deep in your psyche. We're, like I said, we're just not supposed to see all that trauma, especially if it's a lot of Black people watching it, obviously, who are going to get really riled up and really mad about it and are probably going to protest and probably going to riot. I mean, it just does something to you. It makes you angry. And of course, there's going to be the white Antifa people and hoodlums and gangsters that are just going to take advantage of the situation, and they're going to loot and riot small-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, and they're all going to be collateral damage. And so it allows that to happen too. And it's like the way that they hyped this video up all week, because Patriot, he actually had only heard of this today or yesterday, but I've been seeing for at least a couple weeks now, people being like, this is the new Emmett Till. When they release his body cam footage, it's over. Like, people were saying, like, as soon as they see it and as soon as it confirms that it's going to be the next Emmett Till or whatever, it's over. And so they were hyping it up. What do? Release it on a Friday evening right before the weekend. What? Like, please tell me you're seeing, I know you're seeing this, but audience, please tell me you're seeing this. Yeah, I need one of those. I don't know if I can get one to fit on top of my puff, but please.
Listen.
It is so obvious. Like, the video aside, like, obviously shit is horrible. Shit is traumatizing. I wish I never watched the video. That was horrible. But the way they're handling it, when these five dudes are already arrested. They're already being charged with murder. I mean, they use in the case of George Floyd, in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, in the case of all these people, they're rioting for people that under the guise of people getting arrested, right, or people getting charged. They've already been charged. What are they going to protest for? What are they going to riot for? Change, reform. What? It always happens in these liberal ass cities where it's like you voted for these people, you elected these people. Like, what do you mean change? It's just, it pisses me off.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here. First, I want to stay in the vein of, what's in your conscience. I think there's a level of desensitivity, it's almost sanitizing these events to our subconscious mind where we kind of get used to them and get numb to them. Also with situations like what you have where, you're affected by them, watching them, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's something very triggering specifically for the Black population that watches this. The type of material that they put out there in the media, Hollywood, et cetera, et cetera. But this one's a bit different because these are Black officers. Now, the take I saw in a viral video, the girl said, just because it's 5 Black guys, it's still white people's fault. It's still a system of white supremacy. It's still a racist system. Even though, huh?
CNN put out an article today saying that.
Saying that? That's the take that they're running with?
There's a CNN op-ed that went up today that was saying basically it's still about white supremacy, even though they're Black.
Is there any truth to that?
No, I think it's the policing system. I think the policing system in this country is broken. But like, I'm pretty sure about half the officers in Memphis are Black. I mean, it's like, we saw the same thing in Baltimore with Freddie Gray. Remember Freddie Gray? They like severed his spine or some crazy shit like that. It was a mix. It was like a diverse group of officers. Like, half of them were Black. Like, I'm not convinced by the white supremacy argument, especially if you go back to Baltimore, because I remember people said the same thing when it's like the mayor is Black, the police chief is Black, the officers involved are Black. No, I don't know about like the politics of Memphis specifically, but I know that the force has a lot of Black people on it, and it's a diverse, and a lot of Black people are in the area. So I'm not buying the white supremacy thing. I think it's people who are power hungry. I think that the job currently, how it's sold in America, where you don't have to go through extensive training like you do in many other countries, I think it attracts the wrong type of people. I think it attracts bullies, because what we just saw was these 5 dudes ganging up on him, get his ass, literally jumped him while he's screaming mom for his mom. That's bullying. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out that they did like hazing or bullying or picking on kids in high school and just grew up to be cops. And I think that the job attracts a lot of the wrong people, not to say everybody, because I know I got to make that disclaimer here, but I'm not one of those thin blue line conservatives, so I'm not even gonna play that.
You're involved with a celebrity, Patriot J. He just got his account back on Twitter. Welcome back. What did he say is going on with this situation? What are his thoughts? He's someone who's involved in legal. He's passed the bar. He has his own practice. We're talking about an accomplished attorney here. What are his thoughts on this event? What intel was he able to garner? I think he writes for, is it Breitbart, or who's this publication? Breitbart. Okay. Yeah. What's he saying?
He was horrified, and he's not usually one that's fazed by a lot of videos. Like, he's usually the one that's like, oh, watch this sick video. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch that. But he was really horrified. And yeah, he's a criminal defense attorney. So I'm not saying he has like sympathy for like accused criminals and stuff, but he knows the proper procedure. He knows that people have their rights. He's reminding them, don't talk to the police. You know your rights, like, every single day. So he understands the criminal's perspective, I guess. And I mean, yeah, he was horrified. It was just sad, and I could tell he was sad writing it.
Yeah.
And I write for the Post Millennial, I'm probably gonna have to write about it tomorrow, and I don't really want to because it's just I know I'm gonna have to watch the video again. I know I'm gonna have to transcribe it and listen to every time he screams "mom, mom, mom," and it's horrible. It's traumatizing. And he has a 4-year-old son. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Dude has a 4-year-old child.
Yeah. There's a lot of variables to this story, like the state of mind he was in. There's some footage that we haven't seen. You know, what's the events that occurred prior to the tape starting?
Like, let's see the reckless driving. I would like to see like how reckless was this driving he was pulled over on suspicion of, and what immediately followed that. But from what I saw in those several angles meshed together was him saying, okay, man, okay, man, okay, man, like stop, stop, stop. I'm not resisting, him trying to lay down. Okay. And it looks like the body tenses up and you don't really know what adrenaline is going to do to you in the moment. He's not fighting or pushing or punching the officers when they arrest him, but he does look like when they're talking to him and yelling at him and kind of roughing him up at the ground, he's not laying as flat as he should, but he's kind of turned back talking to them and begging them to stop. So it's like, either way, like nothing warranted that, but I can see how Officer Tantrum will say, oh, well, he wasn't laying flat on the ground. I'm waiting for it. Maybe because the officers are Black, he won't defend them, but you know, he doesn't think officers can do anything wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. Uncle Hotep has some funny takes. Uncle Hotep was on here earlier. You know, Uncle Hotep is a professional grifter. If we had to read the room, what's the room saying right now? You know, what are people saying? How is the left position? I think we kind of touched on how the left position. How is the right positioning as far as this conversation is concerned?
You know,
I haven't really seen.
I want to have faith. I want to have faith that there's going to be an outpouring of people just trying to speak against the divisiveness. So, you know, don't riot, of course, but also to acknowledge what they did was wrong, acknowledge that what the police did was wrong. I'm sure many people will do that. I'm not trying to generalize, but I know there will be some large forces and voices in the movement that will only use the opportunity to say, well, does Black Lives Matter care now? Where's Black Lives Matter now that they're Black cops? And they're not going to say anything other than the issue, other than to stir division and they want Black Lives Matter to riot, you know, because it gets them views and it gets them whatever. So there's going to be reactionaries. There's going to be people with genuine reactions. I already know in my mind who's going to react which way. So it is what it is.
So you have, I don't hear much faith there at all. I don't hear much faith in it at all. I can't blame you.
How could I have faith? How could I have faith watching them? I think Candace actually did admit she was wrong about the Ahmaud Arbery thing, but a lot of people did not. A lot of people did not admit they were wrong about the initial reaction to the Ahmaud Arbery thing. And I didn't see a lot of initial reactions to this because, I mean, Christopher Wray, the FBI director this morning, was saying, guys, it's really, really bad. Like it's really, really bad. And so when they released it, of course, I don't think all the conservatives are going to be like, it's actually not that bad because it's a little too soon. But I have seen already. So where's BLM? Like, do you guys want BLM to riot? Is that what it is? Is that really what it is? Because I remember BLM went crazy for Freddie Gray too. And it was Black cops that did that to him. So.
Yeah. Freddie Gray, that was a tragic death. That was.
They severed his spine, right?
Yeah, they did him dirty. Yeah. The whole thing about it being like racist and systemic and all of that.
I don't give that much credit, to be honest. Like, stop giving them so much credit. Like, they're so supreme over you. If I would complain about white supremacy all day, I feel like I would have to believe that they're supreme. They don't have power over me. I believe systems have power, but it's not like a whiteness.
I believe it's more like the power of the state, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and when I think about power of state and some of the largest fluctuations in growth of state have all basically come under communism. Look at how fast so many nations look at. All right, you want to really take a look at monarchy? Communism killed monarchy. Socialist uprisings killed monarchies left, right, and center. And so when we look at America, I'm looking at, this state, and are there elements that are racist? I'm like, yeah, but the elements with black people, I don't know if we can, because I'm really trying to be objective here. Is there a point that it's like, okay, systemic? I try to see it. I don't think I can see it on this one. I really don't think I can see it. I
mean, I know there's going to be some Black women of the Democratic persuasion that are going to say they have internalized racism. They're white men in blackface. They're bullet bags anyways. Da, 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 da. Like, I know that's going to happen, but I really don't buy that. I feel like those types of women, obviously, disclaimer, not all Black women, but like mostly like the divestors and the Jamil Hills and the Joanne Reeds, all of them, they're going to say that it was all white supremacy, that they're white men in blackface, da, 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 da. Like, they don't want to admit that it's the state, because that would unravel their whole worldview, which is give more power to the state, give more control to the state. They want to blame whiteness. If we just did more diversity and inclusion training for Black men so they can be more accepting of other Black men, then maybe we'd fix the situation. But
yeah, it's like the race pimp thing. I feel like when you play that card, you feed into it, and yeah, I just don't like doing that. And calling a situation like this racist, even though there are Black guys there, I think we always got to go back to it. What Experiment? There's a movie called The Experiment. Have you ever seen that with Forrest Whitaker? It's
what is it about?
It's based upon a real life study. Basically, what they did was they took two groups of people. They put them in a real life jail cell, and basically they had to follow the rules of the jail for a set period of time. I think it was a few days or something like that. And one group are prisoners and one group are COs. And you operate like it's a real prison. Like, we lock you up at a certain time, blah, 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 blah. But nobody's done anything wrong. They all know that they're in there based upon an experiment. Yeah. And it got nasty. It got really bad. Like, police officers was whooping people's asses, because they had the authority. So it says something about, how power can corrupt just the man, himself, when you give him that much power and that much authority, without the training. I feel like police officers should be able to catch people cleverly.
Mm-hmm.
They
don't have enough training for that, though. They don't have enough training. I don't think they keep a high enough fitness standard. It's like so many like obese cops. I feel like they're going to be more likely to shoot somebody because they can't run and chase somebody or like go hand to hand with them in combat. Like there's things like that really add up, and I think that really make the shootings more frequent, when in other countries they're just not.
I think from the time that you have to physically put hands on somebody, you've done something wrong. Even the SWAT are trained during hostage situations that a perfect score is where nobody dies, including the person taking the people hostage, right? Like, that's a perfect score. And I don't think they have negotiation trainings, psychological training, de-escalation training, because I'm looking at like the people that they're having altercations with, and I'm like, bro, I could talk this dude into putting the cuffs on himself.
Seriously. I mean, why? First of all, why did it take 5 dudes? Honestly, I gotta give it to this dude who passed away, unfortunately, but like, it took 5 cops to violently beat him to take him down. It wasn't just one. Like, in a lot of these, it's like 1, 2, 3. It's like, dang, 5. Like, you niggas didn't even try to de-escalate the situation. It was, you wanted to escalate it. You wanted to bully that poor man. You heard him screaming, "Mom!" You hit him even harder. Like, it's just disgusting. And to just boil it down to white supremacy, I think that's disrespectful to the situation, because you're not talking about all the other factors. I mean, the 99% of the factors, maybe it's, let's say it's 1% white people's fault. All the other factors, like, come on. Like, again, that would make them have to unravel their whole thinking about the state, because these are the same people that argue for gun control. So they just want the problem to be like, ooh, white supremacy, not a tangible thing, which is the government. Like, we can see it, we can hear them, we can vote them out, you know, we can do different things to combat that, but that requires like real thought and real action that they don't want to take. They want to burn and loot shit. So
let me run an idea past you, okay? Private police, okay?
yeah.
And I'd imagine it something, because I've mentioned this before, and this one dude, he went off the handle, and I understand why, because he's probably been traumatized by private police. But I'm imagining, for example, when we look at, I think it's Mayor Lightfoot. Where is she? Chicago?
Yeah.
I want to say there's a group out there of men that are like patrolling the streets. I forget the name of the group. Chat, help me out. Also, police, train stations, and they show up and they sort of just, you know, try to keep the peace. And I'm just looking at the behavior of the population of these cities. It's very masculine behavior, et cetera, et cetera. You know, common sense would say, look, if these kids like shooting guns and they like, you know, expressing themselves in a very aggressive manner, let's harness that. Let's go to the boys and say, hey, listen, you guys got a lot of energy for combat. Let's get you trained. I take the boys and I would just fund like military, like, listen, the boys ain't got no parents, ain't nobody take care of them. Cool. We're going to put them in military school right away, you know, and really harness that energy. That's where I would put the funding into, you know. I would, King Randall has a very similar program where the kids have, you know, it's not co-ed, it's all boys. It's a, you know, very military-esque or style training with the physical fitness, et cetera, et cetera. But I think they need to be removed from their environment and taken to another place and just completely reprogrammed, you know, by being in a better environment with some good mentors. What do you, and then from that, right? Like the old heads, I imagine the old heads who's sitting around who kind of did the street thing, they trying to tell the young kids not to do it, but you know, they're the clients of the kids. The kids are selling them drugs. Take them dudes and, like, you know, make them community watch and whatever, and start employing the hood. You know, the whole reason the hood is because they ain't got no employment. And if the community would employ the community instead of employing people outside the community, you know, I think we could have our own private police force, you know. Is some aunties out here that be sitting on the porch that know everything going around. Maybe she need to be lead investigator.
So, you know, I'd be for it. And I don't know if this was the same people you was talking about, but in New York, I know they have the Guardian Angels, which is the dudes in the red jackets and the red berets who stand on the subway and stuff, you know, make sure people don't get pushed on the platforms, women don't get robbed, all that kind of stuff. And I love them. And the I forget the dude's name, Curtis something. He ran for mayor. He was one of those dudes.
Okay.
So can't remember, but he ran for mayor of New York and he was Republican. So I agree with all of that. And you actually sound like, you know, Kim Klacik, when she ran in Baltimore, she had that whole plan. It was kind of controversial, but I really liked it. It was about how to combat all the foreclosed homes. She was going to let dudes come to her if they got legal money or not, and basically no questions asked policy, be like, yo, can I buy and flip this house? And so she was going to collaborate with, like, not necessarily local drug dealers, but people who have not necessarily confirmed to not be a local drug dealer, and then, you know, get them off the street. If they promise to not do dirty shit with their money, you can buy these foreclosed homes, flip it, and you will be a landowner. You know, you'll be a landlord in this neighborhood. That was her plan. The Democrats in Maryland District 7 did not want that. They wanted, you know, more years of the same shit, so they didn't vote for Kim Klacik, but it was a good idea.
That's an interesting concept. So
Yeah.
we're talking about taking any money, no matter the source, and
Not like murder, but like basically like street.
No. I get what you're saying. There's no questions asked, just like like a gun buyback program, right? Like,
similar.
yeah, no questions asked. Let's revamp the neighborhood. Let's clean up the neighborhood. You know, I'm a fan of job programs too. Okay, like job programs basically saying, look, we'll provide your housing while you're getting these skills. You know, you're performing well. We'll keep your housing. That itself is going to pose some risk. But anyway, let's try to continue. You know, and then from there, sort of reintegrate people back into the economy, right? But I think you have to invest in the people in the community, the actual people, the people that live there, the residents of the community. I think you got to invest in them. You need to bring them into conversations, town halls, you know. But I like that program. You know, if you're gonna bring in, let's call it dirty money. Let's call it what it is. Let me think through this, right? All right. So dirty money comes in. What are the stipulations involved in a real estate deal? Let's say it's a 3-family, you know, because the first thing I'm thinking, like, is this nigga going trap out of there?
So to give people a perspective on these houses that are foreclosed in Baltimore, a lot of them have like fire damage, water damage, rats, squatters, homeless people living in them, like whole row houses, you know, 10 houses in a row that have flooded foundations, or there's fire damage and the city just hasn't knocked them down yet. And so these houses are nothing, like worth nothing. Like they can just give you a house and say, use the money for the renovations. Like you don't have to buy the house, I believe was the plan for like the ones that are foreclosed to that point. But yeah, keep it clean. You know, I think they would probably, I don't know Kim's like entire details of the plan, but if you would ask me, I would say there would be a program in place to make sure that this money is going to renovations. Maybe don't put it in their account. Those dudes don't have big accounts anyways. They got Cash App cards. So maybe make a joint bank account with whoever and then let them, you know, track the money out or something. I don't know.
I like that. No, I like that. That absolutely makes sense. No, that's brilliant. It's like a way out. It's like, look, you know, and we know they want to get out. Like the real wise ones that get in the game, they want to get out, you know. They honestly do. I've seen a bunch of interviews where they're like, yo, I really want out. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder, or et cetera, or living, you know, day by day. So I would modify it a little bit, you know, just for the sake of conversation. What do you think about, like, if you're going to buy this as an investment property, and then let's say it's a 3-family home, one resident has to be a local community member?
I like that.
Part of
you don't want people gentrifying up the joint when you just rebuilt it. You know, you definitely want it to go back to the people that you're trying to serve. So yeah, I would actually agree with that.
Yeah. Somebody that is willing to go through
you know, people are going to swoop and be like, ooh, freshly renovated house in an area that has culture. Let's put up a Whole Foods right in the corner, you know? Little Starbucks.
Nah, you're going to have to live next to Tyrone downstairs. Tyrone going to be your neighbor. He going to be in a job program. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I really want to commit people to job programs. It could go wrong, though. It could go really wrong. How do you feel about the CRT conversation, right? So right now they're trying to say in Florida that they're banning African-American studies. Have you been keeping up with that story?
I saw the story. I don't know what the exact content was that set off the CRT alarms, but my official opinion on banning CRT is I'm against the government banning any school of thought. So while I don't agree with it, I don't necessarily support them banning it. I get that it's public schools and it's state funded money, but I know Florida has exceptionally better school choice than, you know, other states. So I would have to actually find out. Oh my God, whatever fruit you're eating looks so funny because I guess it's green and it's just see through. This is nice, but it's just like I want to read it before I comment too much on it, but as like principally, I'm just against the government banning educational things, even if I disagree with it.
I agree with Don DeMarco for that. Sometimes people make decisions based upon principles. And I think that more often than not is the right way to handle decisions. Because
I just feel like I have no other ground to stand on if people come at me later and be like, oh, you know, because I criticize a lot of Republicans and even libertarians for being like fake small government, like they're small government on most stuff or just the stuff they agree on. But when it comes to other people, they want to ban. I don't want to be that fucking person because I call people out that do that. So I don't, you know, I want some ground to stand on. So yeah, I want to be principled, and not just for the sake of my own argument, but for also like, I don't know. I think if you want to be a progressive lefty Marxist parent who sends their kid to progressive lefty Marxist school, you should be allowed to do that. That kid's probably going to fail in life, but that's your child. And I don't think that, you know, it goes either way. I don't think that schools should have mandated like sex ed for kindergartners. I don't think they should have mandated CRT for kindergartners. I think generally parents should opt in and opt out of those difficult subjects, but I don't think it should be like outright flat banned.
It's I get you. You know, what about rainbow? People are saying that
LGBT stuff in school.
yeah, that they're including that in this education. I don't know the truth or validity to that as pertaining to the decision that DeSantis is making. But do you think people should be able to step in then? Because we know 10th Amendment affirms the right to the state. So you got to allow states to govern how states want to govern based upon what the people say. You know,
I don't think you're allowed to sexually groom children. Now, I don't think there's a clear line that anybody has decided on, okay, what's sex ed and what's sexually grooming, but you know it when you see it. I guess that's the best answer. And I know that's an anti-First Amendment answer, because if you know the origins of that, it comes from basically the whole legal battle when it comes to like what's too explicit to send through the mail or to display on television. Like it goes back far. I forget who said it, but somebody was like, you know it when you see it. But you know, I mean, to people with a sane mind, and I know that that's becoming increasingly rare these days, you know sexual grooming when you see it. So all these books that have been banned, and you read, and I've looked at the content of the books because the Post Millennial reports on this a lot. It's like gay porn. Like it's like I've had to read some of these books to report on it, and there's like graphic illustrations of, you know, like some sex acts being done, and these are in middle.
These are in what?
I don't know how
middle school?
I don't have yes, middle schools. And it's books on being, you know, how to, you know, have gay sex, how to transition, showing girls getting their double mastectomy, and you know, things that are very adult and very explicit. So that to me is sexual grooming. That's not free speech. You do not have the rights to show kids a book with pictures of penises in it. I think that that's for the parents to decide if they want to have their kid go through like LGBT training or sex ed or whatever. So the sex ed, I think, should be opt-in for parents. If the parents want to keep their kids out of that and want to teach them whatever they want, I think that should be plausible and good and fine. But the extreme, I mean, it's not even just the LGBT stuff. If they were showing pictures of extreme graphic, like heterosexual sex, I would say the same thing, but they're not really doing that. I think it's more in the name of LGBT acceptance that they're showing the gay porn in school. So, yeah.
I think this is a good place to plug that Hotep Nation supports the homeschooling community. Hotep Nation, or I should say Hotep Jesus does homeschool his kids. Shout out to Hotep Nation.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
And we.
That's such a good soundbite.
Oh, I love that soundbite. I love that soundbite. I want to make it an NFT. But yeah. I don't know. CRT is in this, right? It's definitely in this curriculum. It's an AP course. That's a university course, et cetera, et cetera. I don't mind. Let me take that back. Let me be controversial. I hate whatever they call African American study.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when we get African American studies, it's really like you said, it's this lineage of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no power in it. There's no masculinity in it. It's just very like, hey, white man beat our ass, fact number 435. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
tell me about it.
it's like, guess what? We made the cotton gin because we wanted to pick cotton faster.
Like, that's depressing, man.
Like, we
I don't
invented.
even know we were picking cotton, man.
This nigga was tired of pin cotton, so he made it. And I'm not taking away from these people's inventions. There's a lot of, great inventions, contributions that, black people has provided to civilization. But it's just like, I want to teach history and chronology. And I feel like African American studies is hypocritical. In one way, it's like, hey, they brought us here on slave ships. We were slaves, right? And then it's just like, okay, well, where did we come from? Oh, well, they took us from Africa, or we were sold by Africans, right? The Homie tribe or whoever it was. All right, so can we go study that? Nah, we shouldn't study that because we're not African.
It starts like it's so crazy. People act like Black history starts with slavery and ends with Obama. Like there is so much other stuff before, between, after. It's just like, I don't know. I want to talk about like more Black triumphs and like Black victories and stuff, and not just being like, slaves. Like, I mean, like Black kingdoms have conquered other kingdoms and empires before, but like, what do we ever learn about that?
Yeah. And the professors, I would choose different professors to teach some of these courses. It's so much better information. I think some of the stuff on YouTube might be, better than you can get at
Some of the stuff shouted by a Hebrew Israelite on the corner is better than you can get. Pamphlets.
Yo, for real.
They'd be like, let me tell you the real truth. They got pamphlets and shit. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust these universities out here to educate anybody. I would trust them to indoctrinate people. But yeah, did you see the Will Smith stuff? He got a new movie out where he's oppressed or a slave or something like that. Did you see that?
Oh, do I want to? You're gonna make me watch something else I don't want to watch, and I'm gonna start crying watching Will Smith be a slave.
Yeah, I saw the rumblings, the conversations, but I haven't seen any trailers. I think I saw maybe a little bit of a promo run, but apparently Will Smith is a slave.
Yeah, they buck broke him. They said, that's what you get for slapping Chris Rock, nigga. We gonna make you a slave in your next movie, or you never do a Hollywood again. They broke him.
Buck broken.
Fucking Hollywood broke him. That's so crazy.
Oh man, is that true, chat? Chat, is that true? Is this the buck breaking of Will Smith? No, can't be. Can't be. No, not Will.
You've been broken. Come on. You ever watch Red Table Talk and they just dog it on him for like an entire episode?
Oh man, the Red Table Talk memes, man. Those are endless. Those are timeless. The Red Table Talk memes. Oh man, I feel so bad for Will. But I think man. Will got money, and as long as you got money, I guess things are supposed to be all right. You just buy a new wife, right? I think that's what you're supposed to do when you're at that level.
Rich too, so it's like you can't get rid of her that easily.
Yeah, also true. I'm gonna watch the movie. Probably I'm gonna watch the Will Smith slave movie for grifting purposes, so I can have an opinion when people actually watch it. And try to monetize my opinion, get my movie money, whatever I happen to spend on the movie. Hopefully I can get that back. If I get that back, I'm happy. But I think it's very important that when Black culture is put into the atmosphere that we comment on it. You know, I think when you're silent, it allows people to have one opinion on these things. And I think, like, for example, did you see the new Whitney Houston movie?
No. Who plays her?
I don't know this new chick, but it's amazing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the new girl does a wonderful, wonderful job playing Whitney. The Whitney was amazing, was epic. But somebody else got smacked up. I think Paul Pelosi or something happened.
Oh my God, the body cam footage from that, or whatever, the surveillance footage from that.
Yeah, did you listen to the 911 call?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So I thought, you know, the video was all you needed to see, and people told me, they was like, yo, you gotta. I was on Around the Blockchain earlier, and that's a YouTube channel. We talk about crypto or whatever. And the boys over there, they told me I had to listen to the 911 call because I thought I saw it all. No, you listen to the 911 call, and the 911 call is just like, what? Paul was very calm. You can hear, I guess, the assailant, the suspect, the guy breaking and entering. I'm not exactly sure how that guy got into the picture, but, you know, Paul he's basically like, hey, what's your name? David. Yeah, I'm here with David. And, you know, David claims he knows the family or something like that. And, you know, I don't know. It was a very weird phone call. And she was like, hey, should we come up there? And David's like, no. And he's like, yeah, I need you to come up here. And it's just very weird conversation.
So that's why, I guess, so Paul is already calm. So that's why when the police get there, he appears to be kind of calm, like when they come in the house.
Yeah.
He feels like he's diffused the situation, then shit gets crazy again.
Yeah, maybe. But he ain't got no pants on when it comes to the
Wasn't
door.
it like the middle of the night, or was it during the day?
Yeah, I think it was the middle of the night.
Okay. Boxers.
Yeah, it was absolutely weird, very weird.
I think like I know both sides had a conspiracy about it. The left thought it was like some, you know, Trump supporter, Klan member, QAnon person, and the right went crazy. They thought he was his gay lover or whatever. And it did look sus. I'm not going to say I never entertained that theory because I certainly did, but it doesn't look like either of those were true. It looks like a crazy guy on drugs. And when I did a lot of research into this guy, he lives in like a leftist, like nudist commune type situation. Like, dude's not a right wing conspiracy theorist. Like, I think he's just a fucking nut job.
Yeah, he might be. Yeah. Somebody said he was dropping total hostage situation hints. Yeah, it did feel like that. Maybe Paul woke up in the middle of the night and this dude broke in or whatever, and I don't know. But dude, somebody in that situation mentally was not right. It was either Paul or the other dude. I know the other dude definitely wasn't right in the head, because the interaction was I don't want to diss autistic people.
What I'm wondering is, like, how does a drugged out man, mentally ill man, whatever his ailment is, he broke into the home of the person who's third in line for the presidency at the time?
I mean,
how is that possible?
Sometimes people get cocky.
Third in line for I just would assume they have better security.
If I was third in line to president, my security would be tight.
Right.
Like, super tight. Which is that's a great point to bring up. You know, maybe her security was tight, but if it was, how'd he get there? Right.
Sympathy psyop, who knows?
Yeah.
Definitely backfired, but
Cassius Cam, he said, the gym I coach boxing at has a deal with the local police department. We offer free training for their police academy, but it's not mandatory. Nobody shows up. These cops need real training. Cowards. Damn, nobody shows up. See, that's the thing. You got to pay people to show up. And you don't even have, like, if you show me a city's budget on some of the things that they spending on, I'm like, yo, we can move money from here. And I think that's what they're really scared of, because people got a lot of scam budgets going on. If we really audit some of the budgets in these cities, We could definitely dial things back. The Bob that God made mad. What a name. New Will Smith movie where he stars as a man oppressed by his wife. Oh, come on, man. Kamar Daniels, donations. Yo, fat shout to the Men of Order guys. Shout out to the Men of Order, menoforder.com. Make sure y'all get tuned in. You got a new podcast out.
I do. It's called Undoctrination. For people searching it, it's just indoctrination, but with a U. It's produced by the Foundation of Economic Education, which is fee.org. I've been working for them for a couple of years now, and their focus is really capitalism and free markets. So me and my co-host Maggie, we're kind of bringing us, I guess, a social element, and we're talking about history, philosophy, culture. And somebody asked me on Twitter, well, how is it different than like, right-wing or libertarian podcasts? Because everybody knows that it's just an oversaturated market. I would say that it's not strictly a right-wing or libertarian. Like, obviously, both me and her are on the right and lean libertarian, but we're talking about a lot of stuff that's not partisan, not political. And I would feel like the main target audience is Gen Z, because there's not a lot of content out there on the right that's for Gen Z. And people keep pointing out that issue, and then they hire millennials to do it. Sorry, they don't understand us any more than boomers do, to be honest. I think we're really different because we're a generation, the first generation that grew up with like smartphones, social media, all that kind of stuff. I think our sense of humor is different. The way we take in information is different. So that's what it is. And
who's your co-host? You have, so this is Undoctrination is you and somebody else, right?
Maggie Anders, who also works at FEE, and we've worked together on stuff in the past. She's on
What's
Twitter.
She like?
She's cool. I would say ideologically, she's probably a little bit more to the left than me, but she brings something really nice to the table, which is, that different perspective. But she's also like, I would say she's a little bit like less hardcore than me on a lot of issues. So she brings me back down to earth on some stuff when I'm getting a little crazy on the podcast, and she challenges my views. So she identifies, I believe, as a feminist. And our most recent episode, which came out yesterday, was about feminism. So we talked about the history of feminism, the manosphere, Andrew Tate, who benefits from feminism, who is harmed by feminism, the whole thing. So
what's your Andrew Tate take?
So I'm obviously not going to comment on like the human trafficking thing, because I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if there's evidence to that or not. I think that he benefits from the same feminism that he criticizes, because I don't think that without feminism, there wouldn't be the women's sexual liberation movement. Without the women's sexual liberation movement, there wouldn't be girls willing to do porn and OnlyFans and make all this money for him. And yeah, I think he benefited from the women's feminist sexual liberation movement, which I don't like. So I think it's a little bit hypocritical.
Damn, that's a bomb right there. Oh
But
man.
as to the crimes, I don't know.
She said feminism is feeding Andrew Tate. God damn.
And a lot of his interactions is from angry feminists reacting to his stuff. Now, you could obviously make the argument, well, me talking about him on my podcast, that's going to get him more clicks, sure. But the majority of the people reacting to him is people like, I'm not a rabid anti-Tater. I think I have valid criticism of him that's not based on like emotion.
Yeah.
But I think he fans the flames and gets a lot of feminists riled up and makes a lot of money from the sexual liberation feminist movement, and he benefits from it. I think he knows that.
How often do you guys record this podcast? Like, when does it drop?
It's every week, so we record it every Monday, and it comes out every Thursday, I believe.
Okay. All right. Comes out on Hotep Thursday. Dope. What time does it come out?
We didn't mean to compete with you guys. I actually don't know if we figured out a set hour yet, but
okay. So yeah. just make sure it's not 8 p.m. That's Hotep power.
It's like in the morning, like early afternoon when it comes out.
Oh, okay, dope. All right, dope. Because you a superstar. You on Fox every night, so I don't want to compete with none of that. You know what I'm saying? Bad enough we got to compete with Tim Pool. Shout out to Tim Pool.
I saw y'all on there. That's dope.
Yeah, we had fun.
When I saw a selfie Cannon posted at the Timcast house, I was like,
yeah, Cannon got his Tim Pool grift on.
That's nice. That's good for all y'all.
Yeah. Shout out to Cannon. Shout out to Cannon Hotep Nation. Yeah. Yeah. Uncle's there. We was promoting the Grifties. You were a part of the Grifties.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I think Taylor Loki hated me because it took forever to like actually like get and like record it and stuff. But
Oh, you're one of those people?
I am one of those people.
Oh man, yeah. He was telling me, yeah, got a few more people. They just haven't booked yet. Taylor's amazing, man. Taylor,
Yeah.
Shout out to Taylor real quick. The Grifties is all him.
Shout out to Taylor's dad's Irish pub in I think Orange County. That was dope too.
I didn't have to do anything but show up to a couple of meetings. The man is absolutely amazing, and he's loyal too. He's like amazingly loyal. And some great things are gonna come out of that relationship. Yeah. Wait, what were we talking about before that? Before
a podcast
Oh, your podcast, right? Okay, so you come out every day, every Thursday, during the day. And what do you guys talk about? So the first episode is on feminism. Okay, so what's her take on feminism?
So that was the second episode. The pilot episode, we talked about like how we got into politics, how I got to being a conservatarian. I talked about how so before I was like niche internet micro celebrity famous for politics, I was like a little locally famous for wrestling. I know you know that, but I don't really talk about it as much anymore just because I don't really compete anymore. It's been like exactly a year since the last time I competed, which is bad. But that was the first episode. I talked about both of our backgrounds. Second episode was feminism. We went through the whole history, like first, second, third wave, all the interconnecting waves, Marxist feminists, anarcho-feminists, all that. So I would say that both me and Maggie were more friendly to different waves of feminism, but the one that we both agreed on the most was individualist feminism, which I still wouldn't call myself because I know there's a lot of connotations that come with the word feminism, and they make you feel like you got to be all like pro-choice and pro-sex work, and I'm not. So I'm not a liberal feminist, but the individualists, the wave of individualists, which started centuries ago, actually was in England, was also fighting for males' rights because it was at a time where there was aristocrats and only like the top 1% landowners could vote and run for office and stuff. So the individualist feminists were like, yo, women want to vote, and also the men who are poor and don't own land, we also want to vote. So can we do that, please? So there was women definitely fighting for men, but I would say if you had to ask me what's my feelings about the current feminism, both me and Maggie would say we definitely disagree with it.
So what's her stance? Is she like obviously she's got to be in lockstep with.
I would say the main difference is that she would not shy away from saying feminist. I would, because I really think that the way the term is used today is pretty Marxist. And by that, I mean like intersectional. You ever hear like intersectional feminism?
Oh, yeah.
And it's got too many labels, got too many connotations for it. I just don't want to use the word. And I really didn't want to do the episode, but I actually learned a lot. So I feel like people should watch it. And then this next episode, we're talking about men's rights. So we're balancing it out. We're not just focusing on women, even though we are women. We did want to give our perspective on like, okay, how is society failing men? So we're going to talk about mental health, how suicide rates are higher for men, how just because, feminism changed a lot of gender roles for women doesn't mean it also didn't change it for men. So suddenly women are sexually liberated and can go out of the house and do all this kind of stuff. But also suddenly men are not the sole breadwinner. Men's position as the leader in the household has changed for the worse, I think. And it affected a lot of men's psychology. And I think that's really negative. And also we're seeing like they have like half the sperm count now as they did 50 years ago. That's a huge problem. I think this country is literally feminizing men. And another big problem I have with feminism is because I think that rubbed off on men a little bit. So we're going to talk about
a lot of bit. Shit.
Well, we're going to talk about that on my podcast. So go watch it. Guys.
Individualism. When does, because there's individualism, there's collectivism, there's, people saying, Constitution and, affirming the rights of the individual. Then on the other side, the Socialist side, you got Jacques Rousseau with the social contract. We heard, who was it recently that used the word social contract? One of these leftist personalities. But do you ever think there's a time where there is a call for collectivism, or where is the line between collectivism and individualism?
I think the only social contract that can and should be held is the non-aggression principle. But as of now, not enough people know about that. So I don't think that can be upheld or even observed in the way that it should be right now. But for people who are watching who may not know what that is leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. Don't touch me. Don't touch my shit. I won't touch you. I won't touch your shit. So that covers taxes. That's your shit. That's your money. Don't tax me. That covers police brutality. This is my body. This is my property. I haven't encroached on anyone else's rights. So don't touch me. I hope Hotep's okay. This is okay. So obviously you can't steal my property. You can't trespass on my property. I bought this land. This land is mine. So the non-aggression principle, the most popular circles or spaces you'll hear that in, damn, yeah, drink that water, are libertarian and anarchist circles, because a lot of people are like, well, in a perfect libertarian society, how are you going to live? What are the social contract you're going to live by? The non-aggression principle. Should there be people to enforce it? Yeah, I think that's where, damn, he got the vid. I think that's where private police come in. So I think people should live off of that as opposed to the social contract where we're like, everything is a human right. Healthcare is a human right. Housing is a human right. Food is a human right. Like it's never going to end. I think that we're so close to people genuinely believing that they're owed like partners, like they're owed like a sex partner, they're owed children, because government is supposed to, account for and allot for anything. They're supposed to provide you everything you need to eat, live, survive, a little bit, then some welfare on top of that. I think the government is so close to just start giving people because everybody, espouses a human right. Like it's really not beyond them. So this is what happens when we rely on the social contracts. We don't owe you anything. Nobody owes me anything. It's all about consent.
This is all right. So, me, I've swung anarchist and then now I'm like swinging back statist with my ideology as of 2023 early. The non-aggression principle is a collectivist principle in its very nature. I think it's
the one collectivist principle that should be allowed.
And my response to that is, how do you protect your resources? Mm-hmm. What group of people? Because one day somebody's going to come. The perfect example is Great Britain versus the native population of the United States of America. France versus the United States of America. The Spanish versus Spain, or I'm sorry, the indigenous population versus Spain. Including Cristobal Colon, De las Casas. That's what I think of.
Mm-hmm. You think of people conquering groups that are weaker?
Somebody's going to come try to conquer your ass. You don't think it's at some point that you say we need a federation, a federated army?
I don't care how big, so if we're talking about like an anarchist utopia and America has balkanized or broken up and there's people living in different states that are governed differently.
We're talking about United States as it is right now. And
it just suddenly turns to anarchy.
And you have the option of being an anarchist. Yeah. Do you imagine, trying to turn America into that, or are you talking about doing something like Rajneesh, going and buying some territory and living in your own commune? Where are we at with it?
Okay. So for context, I don't even consider myself an anarchist, but I agree with a lot of their points. So I'm not saying I would ever necessarily put a plan into motion to turn the United States into an anarchist country.
Yeah.
However, I'm really open to the idea of like living off the grid in a little, I know when people say commune, you think of communists, but I'm thinking more the anarchist sense where, yes, we're completely free from the government, we grow our own food and we do all this stuff, but there's no drain on, there's no like little welfare state, there's no redistribution of wealth. You get what you put in, and that's about it. And everything again is about consent. And so go back to your question, what if somebody bigger, stronger group tries to conquer, tries to take over us? I would say that that's been happening since the beginning of time, and the existence of a government has never aided in that ever, so I don't see what would be any different than an unfederated,
That's my point.
Okay.
I feel like libertarians and anarchists sometimes live in la la land, because this is like, can you show me a time period where there hasn't been Caesar or the next Caesar or the next Alexander or the next Carthage?
Human nature will always exist. But the government does not stop that. So I think the government makes human nature, the evils of human nature, even worse and more effective, because now you can do the conquering with the power of the state. Now you can pin a notice to someone's board and be like, get out, we're taking your stuff. This is an official letter from the government. Like, I think it makes it worse. I think it makes vulnerable people more vulnerable. And the bullies, like you see, they're employed by the state. They're beating up 5 guys, beating up one smaller dude while he's screaming for mom. That's the state. How could it possibly get worse under anarchy than 5 guys beating to death one guy, 10 guys beating to death one guy? Like, let's be real. This is state-sanctioned anarchy, what people think is anarchy, which is just violence. Anarchy can be peaceful. It doesn't have to be criminal, but that's just what people fearmonger about.
Well, we really... When you and that's what I love and hate about anarchy, right? When you really dive into the definition of the word, it means utopian society, right? And I think it gets a bad rap because when people think of anarchy, they think of violence. They think of the socialist anarchists of the past, such as like the one who murdered William McKinney, right? President McKinney, I believe it was. These types of instances are the ones that stand out most. But it does mean utopian society, but that's also my gripes with it. It's just like, well, is that realistic? And it's just like, if that's realistic, then just go build your commune. Like, the Amish live outside of the community for the most part. I know the feds be fucking with them sometimes because they having raw milk. I'm like, you can't have a raw milk. I'm like, yo, right. If the people want to leave them alone.
Raw milk, everything that they hate.
But I think it's because like they selling it to us, and they like, hold up, now you doing commerce with my slaves, with my citizens. Like, I got a contract with these folks.
So, have you ever been to an Amish market?
I'm pretty sure I have.
Okay, so if y'all are anyone's from like the DMV or Pennsylvania, New York area, please go to a Pennsylvania Dutch market. Please, please, please. Their fried chicken, their barbecue, it's just also good, also fresh, way better than anything you would ever get at any, Walmart or big box grocery store. Anyway, sorry, I love the Amish people. That was a tangent, but I love Amish.
The Dutch market, yes. That's what it's called. Yes. Yeah. Somebody asked me, I do a daily email newsletter, and basically it's like Ask Hotep Jesus, and you send me your problems and I'll write an email up. And they asked me the same question, how can you get cheap? And that's one of those instances where even if it's not cheap, at least you're getting it organic, non-GMO, et cetera, homegrown, supporting the local community, et cetera. But yeah, that makes sense. I get the non-aggression principle, but I feel like the non-aggression principle needs an aggression principle. Like, listen, this is our principle, non-aggression, but is you down with the Federation? Because we're going to throw a little chip into the military budget. But I always believe that that's where power defaults to, period. For example, when who was it that came into power? Oh, for example, when the last Kaiser abdicated in Germany, I forget who it was. I think it was the KDP, but those dudes were like, the general of the army was calling the shots with the new government. Like, look, these soldiers is on my side. So if you want our help, you're going to have to make some conservative concessions. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a little different over time, and whoever controls the gun got a really big bargaining chip.
I like that. I like that. And I think this is just my assumption, but I believe that whoever has control of the people with the guns willingly, like they're not necessarily part of the state or employed through the state, like how you just described, I think that's the person who's on the side of the people. Because how did you get so many people to stand behind you with guns, willing to lay down their lives? Not to say in all cases, there's definitely, been very large exceptions to that rule. But I think that separate from the state, whoever's leading the militia, I'm thinking about the militiamen who are fighting against King George in the Revolutionary War. Whoever's leading the militia, not necessarily the government army, that's the people.
Yeah. In them days, that definitely was the people, especially if you were conscripted, if your son was conscripted.
These people are like farmers who were like, fuck this shit,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just see, everywhere I look, I see Caesar in a different form, right? Even when we look at Rome, Rome is the same setup we got. You got your leader and you got the Senate, right? You got your congressman, somebody look it up, man. What's the record for the amount of senators that sat in Rome? I forget, man, but it kept inflating and whatnot. Somebody look that up and throw that in the chat real quick. Fun fact. They had a whole bunch of senators, a whole lot of chefs in the kitchen. And it led to in some instances it was, it facilitated greed. I don't want to say it led to. I want to say it facilitated greed. But in some ways, I feel like the systems are innocent of the people. I feel like the issue with the world is people and scarcity of resources. Like one person or one nation is going to have something and they're going to have a little bit of it and they're not going to want to share it. For example, look at Trump's last election. Build the wall. We got people coming in, taking our resources. People like, oh, hell no, don't come in here, right? That's a legitimate fear. I don't know. I feel like because people are going to have that legitimate fear, all we're going to lean towards, well, how do I protect my resource?
Hire people.
And then so then what happens at the border? You know what I mean? You build a wall, more guns,
Yeah.
So
I feel like this is where I diverge from a lot of anarchists who believe that, a border is just as flawed as a system as any other system like communism or the government or the state. I don't buy it. I think that if people got together and treat the land that this is collectivism, I know that they collectively live on, even though there's they all own private property within that land, treat the whole thing like everyone's collective private property. Everyone has a vested interest in defending it. I think that's the best way to go. I think that leaves the least room for the evils of human nature to really get in if you have a big, expansive government that's doling out money to this project and doling out money to that project, all these welfare systems, all these military, projects that aren't liberating anyone. It's not for anyone's equality or patriotism. It's really bad stuff going on. So yeah, I think that's my main gripe with a lot of libertarians and anarchists is who don't want a border. I think, to me, like the same way you're reacting is, I think that's La La Land. I think that's stupid. I don't think that we will ever have a borderless society that is ever successful, ever. That's just, I don't think it'll happen.
I got one exception. When the aliens invade. Everybody be like, hey, look, oh, human, come here. We on the same team. All of a sudden,
right.
It won't matter what color he is because the aliens here and they kicking ass. You know what I'm saying?
But doesn't that just create another border? It's just the world.
Well, it's just going to be that one border, us between them, right? It's just a new other, a new outside group, a new othering. But that's the only thing that would, manifest some sort of unity amongst people. I believe it's a collective consciousness issue. Whatever is the summation of the human mind globally or even regionally, that's what that area is going to look like. That's what you're going to produce, what those people think about most. And then you come into the digital property space, YouTube, Twitter, etc., etc. These are all properties. People are coming, they're setting up shop, and you're seeing the type of mind that gravitates towards certain content and the content that the algorithm favors, right? So you have all these extended places of property and groupings of minds. And, as I look at it, it's just like, I think whoever clans up first and clans up best wins, especially if you got, some Canon Hoteps around. Canon keep that thing on them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. I try to think about this utopian, society, but I think it just comes back to the collective consciousness of people. I don't think we not there yet.
We're not. I don't know if we ever will be, honestly.
Yeah. What y'all niggas talking about?
Ah, shit. Patriot J in the house. Yo, Patriot J, can you hear me?
Yep.
Welcome back to Twitter, bro.
Thank you, dude. I was gone for like 2 months, bro. That shit was crazy.
He appealed like 5 times a day.
And she had to sit here and listen to me. Fuck, they denied my appeal again.
Yeah.
Yo, but you showing the people something, man. You got to be relentless out here, man. You can't take no for an answer. See, that's a lesson. That's a bar right there. I like that, man. It's good to have you back, man. Y'all got to follow Patriot J on Twitter. Huh?
I said, thank you, bro.
We got to nominate him for a grifty for that one.
People call him out.
Look, who was it? No Spoon Che, he had tweeted, Patriot J didn't win a grifty this year, and that proves the only thing that can stop the grift is a real job, which is true. I got employed and stopped grifting, but I'm back on my shit. 2024.
Let's
Just
go.
wait.
Patriot J in the house, y'all. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I like thinking about society. Me, I'm just optimistic person. I believe Hotep's gonna save the world.
I think, I've been really black pill lately, but I've been trying to get away from that. So I'm gonna just say I believe you and just manifest it.
Yeah, I think we the only people that could save us. Type Hotep in the chat if you think the Hoteps is the only one that could save us. Because we got so many great people. You came to Hotep Con. Hotep Con tickets going on sale soon. Get ready, hotepnation.com. But just
I owe my current life to Hotep Con, I think.
You definitely do. Your Hotep Con is basically your anniversary.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. That's Hotep love, man.
We gotta have a Hotep wedding.
Everyone's
gonna be confused except for y'all.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you see that? Like, magical stuff like that happens. That's what I think. Because, we got y'all down. It's just a great team everywhere. And I think the influence is spreading. The love is spreading. I look at it like this, Liv. I follow a lot of science. And science told me that every single cell on this planet is vibrating, which means it's giving across a frequency. And I know that when you're fearful, you give off a certain frequency, and when you're elated, you get off a different frequency. And I just want to tweak the frequency. That's why I moved more into like the comedic spaces, because I want to make people smile. If I can make people smile, I can make people want to smile more. And I think that's what we got to focus on, man. We got to focus on the things that make us smile, and, the good, healthy things. And stop looking at the videos like, that upset you earlier, it's sad, they put that stuff in front of us, like you said, right? Friday, right before the weekend, holeless, hold it over a weekend, just in time for the weekend protesting. That's crazy. So now we're gonna have a weekend of grifting.
Yep, it's I don't know if it'll be as big as George Floyd because again they were rioting, I think, to get those people charged and arrested. But I think it's gonna be bad. I think we're gonna see some. I mean, I hope to God we don't see another like David Dorn situation where like innocent people are caught in the crossfire. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. But it looks like a weekend of grifting is definitely upon us. Like I said, I just
wheel out Al Sharpton. They're gonna wheel out Benjamin Crump. They're gonna wheel them all out.
I saw the usual suspects organizing. I mean, the thing is, you need somebody that organizes to get people, because once you see like, oh, they're in New York City and they're here, then then it's like, okay, these are leaders of organizations who have large email lists. They sent the message out, they sent a text message blast out, and people were like, okay, here we're meeting up at Union Square, we're meeting up here this time, let's go. So and for me, I think it's a testament to how quickly the left can organize. I said this on the podcast the other day, like, all this stuff is about organization. How well are you organizing your people? And I think the right does a decent job organizing things in politics and organizing people in the PACs, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how well the rank and file organize for themselves, however, and who's putting their certain groupings and coalitions together. Because if they did, they may be able to shape their local government better. The left at a drop of the dime could apply pressure. And that's something that has been perfected through Bolshevism, through socialist revolts, through labor revolts. We're talking about socialist versus capitalist, so-called capitalist revolts. We've seen this spring up. So, and I say that because I don't want people to think this stuff is new, Liv. I want them to know that this machine has been well-oiled for a time now. And what we're seeing is just something that's just a bit more perfected.
It's all, this is just from the beginning of time, it's all been, I think, symptoms of human nature. But the tool that we wield now is just, this has got to be the biggest one. I mean, across the nation, we have the biggest, most overreaching states ever currently, I think.
What do you mean? Yes, as far as like
so entrenched in your life. I mean, of course, we've had authoritarian states in the past, but they didn't have the surveillance capabilities. They didn't have the enforcement capabilities. They didn't have like the tracking capabilities that we have now. Like, I think we have the most like in your life, controlling your life states globally ever. Now, some are more than others, but the US has a really big one. And I think it's just exacerbating the symptoms of human nature, which is to be corrupt, which is to bully, which is to use power to corrupt. And that's not to say that nobody should have power, but the way we have it now is people don't talk about the bureaucrats a lot. We talk about elected officials, but the bureaucrats don't switch over every 4 years. The bureaucrats are there. They stay the same. There's no term limits for them. So we have this crazy system that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface on when we talk about politics and how we approach it, which is a lot of times voting and activism. But there's people sitting behind closed doors. They're not the sheriff. They're not the school board members. They're not elected officials. It's the administrators that work in the office at your kid's school that are printing out the gay porn books and pamphlets to hang out in the kids' classroom. It's the random IRS lady who's not, elected by anybody, who is really, really good at her job and wants to audit every single thing she goes through. These people are not being overturned or voted out every 4 years,
And they got the system well.
Very well.
They getting in there. We saw the happenings with who was that? That was Speaker of the House. Is it McCarthy?
Yeah.
McCarthy. Yeah. That's one hell of a position to hold. When I looked at the positions, right? VP. president and Speaker of the House. I'm like, damn, Speaker of the House got all the power. You know, I know the president got his finger on the red button.
Yeah.
You know, and the VP, well, you know, they second in line, but you ask me, like,
the speaker is the head of the House and in the legislative branch. I mean, it's a powerful position.
All the bills go through him.
Powerful.
That's a lot of relationships that he could build.
And he's a completely milquetoast guy.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
I think that Matt Gaetz was hilarious and like holding out on him and really pissing him off. But I think it was originally like 20 Republicans who held out on him, and the Democrats were unanimously for Hakeem Jeffries. Well-oiled machine. They fell the fucking line, but behind Jeffries because Pelosi knighted him on the shoulder or whatever. But there was like 20 Republicans originally that weren't on board for McCarthy. Then he kept giving them more stuff, more compromises, da 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 da. So it gets down to like 4 or 6 or something, and so he wins. But
I thought
it's just it's also the fact that the whole party wasn't aligned behind him says a lot, and that there are people who like Matt Gaetz who were literally like, no fucking way, like get out of my face. Yeah, I just don't like him a lot. But I think to be in charge of a bipartisan legislature, you have to probably be a little milquetoast. So I get it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're gonna need some sort of, you can't have too much style. You know, people might not take you serious. You're gonna be cookie cutter. You know, that type. I like
Byron Donalds though. Byron Donalds was like got the second highest amount of votes for speaker, and I like him, but. He was this is only his second term, I think, so he doesn't have a lot of experience, but I think he's good.
But that's what killed me with the left was they were accusing the right of saying, oh, you brought this black guy out, so you could have a token. I'm like, y'all literally are running your token.
Dude, Cori Bush said that he called Byron a token for that. I'm like, how are you not a token? I'm sorry. Literally, how are you not a token, Cori Bush?
Yo, I was like, y'all literally mad because they just picked out a token. Like if I was in charge, I'd be like, oh, they running a black guy? All right, run a black guy. Like I would have made that decision, and said, yo, we're getting behind the black guy. I don't know.
Byron, Donald's did an interview because Joy Ann Reid basically called him a token. He went on her show and she was like, well, why don't you think you're a token? Like, it's supposed to be a given, like that a black man would be picked by Republicans. He has to be a token. And so he says, I was in the room when the decision to have me run was made. Okay, we all collectively decided together. So, of course, he doesn't know their ulterior motives that they didn't tell him, but he says he was in the room when the decision was made. He denied that race played a part in it. I think he's a good speaker. I think he's a good congressman, and I don't like a lot of them, so.
Man, maybe I'll get old one day and feel like running.
You already.
Huh?
You already old.
You're right. I'm already washed. Oh man, I don't know, man. Chad Lemoyne, appreciate you super chat. We appreciate the super chats. Y'all want to participate? We're gonna start to wind down the show here. Let Liv. She's a celebrity. We can't take up too much of her time. Chalamoy, Ephesians 6. Here we go. We about to get into the Bible stuff. What we got here? We battle not with flesh and blood, but with powers and principalities in the highest places. Oh, man. Ephesians 6. Man. Chad just hit us with the good Bible quote. Battle not with flesh and blood, but with powers and principalities. This is true. We battle not with flesh and blood. This is absolutely true. I agree, man. That's a powerful quote, man. I got to get on my Bible studies my damn self. That's one thing I've been slacking. I told myself I'd get into it. I'm just too busy studying communism right now. I'm between studying economics, crypto, and
Tell it to God.
You said what?
Tell that to God.
Yeah. Are you in crypto?
When you're at the pearly gates and God is like, yo, Hotep, why don't you read the Bible, man? You're like, I was too busy studying communism, you know.
Nah, me and God got a good relationship. When I get up there, he gonna have a bottle of champagne for me, man. God know I've been good. Like, come on, man, come me some slack. I swear I was gonna read it. I swear I was gonna read it. How are you? You rocking with crypto?
I honestly can't say I'm super educated on it. Like I'm pro crypto.
You don't got no Bitcoin, no Syscoin.
I have a little bit of Bitcoin.
You got Syscoin? You gotta join the Syscoin ecosystem.
I have a little bit of Bitcoin. I have a little bit of Ethereum. That's it.
We gotta get you on Syscoin.
Okay.
We gotta get you in the Syscoin system because we got something hot coming.
Okay, I believe you.
We got something hot coming. World class technology coming. Shout out to DeFi. Shout out to everybody involved with DeFi. But crypto, you know they got that CBDC coming.
Yeah.
You know they got that. They got that digital coin, that one world currency Alex Jones been talking about.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Are you looking into that? Have you thought about that or?
I've been a little bit skeptical of crypto, not the concept. I like the concept. I like Bitcoin. I like an unregulated, untraceable blockchain separate from the government. But I've always predicted from day one that the government was going to do their own. Like, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? And I think it only makes the prospect of a one world currency even all the more closer. And you know what that brings, a one world government. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're the regulated.
I think it's gonna be like AI. Like obviously that's an amazing technology and a lot of good's gonna come out of it, but it's also gonna be used for the wrong reasons.
AI.
Yeah.
Did you see the AI is woke, right?
The Chat GPT thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like answering questions like a fucking Marxist.
Right. Yeah. They did find a hack around, but you have to put a piece of code in. You actually have to like type in a code. So some geeks found out how to get around the wokeness.
It unwokifies it.
Yeah, it unwokifies Chat GPT. You got to give it like a set of commands. But yeah, but that's my thing. That's what I think. I think that's where the right laxes in technology, and the right to me are like Indians, cowboys and Indians, right? The cowboys got the better technology. You're going to be conquered by the people with better technology. You're just like, hey, I got my guns in the woods. And it's just like, yeah, well, wars are fought on the internet now. And if you don't have an internet space, somebody's going to come for you, and you're going to.
They're trying, the Daily Wire. I don't agree with a lot of their stuff, honestly, but they be putting stuff out. And I've actually watched one Daily Wire produced movie and it was good as fuck. So, I was like, okay, Daily Wire. And, they take Hollywood rejects who were kicked out for being canceled, like Gina Carano, who's, actually pretty famous. I grew up watching her all the time. But I think they're creating that space. We have to invest in it more. And we can't just have the Daily Wire. It has to be like the Blaze got to step it up. Daily Caller got to step it up. We over at Fee got to step it up. We got to produce a bunch of stuff. But yeah, you're totally right. I mean, the left has Hollywood. The left has social media. The left has corporations. The left has the schools. There's a lot of catch up to do.
We about to set up crypto payments on Master Focus. You're gonna be able to buy Master Focus with crypto. I'm trying to figure out how to get it set up so you could pay with Syscoin. We got some great Syscoin programs coming. You can pay with Bitcoin, Ethereum. Ethereum's one of those things where I believe the Australian government is using that for their CBDC. But yeah, it's everywhere now. I believe they just completed the pilot program. And that's going to be pretty interesting to see how it rolls out in the United States. But that's the only thing I'm focused on, man. And I really want more people to pay attention to the crypto space because you're going to wake up one day and Amazon's going to send you an email and say, hey, we switched your accounts over. Here's your crypto wallet address. And you're going to be like, what? How do I do this? And also you're going to miss the gold rush, right? Like, there's people always talk about these wealth transfers, right? And they talk about, especially with black people, you talk about wealth transfer and they say, oh, well, black people never got equity in the American dream, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, this is the one time where the barrier to entry is actually just how much you put in, right? and there's a lot of propaganda. And you know what the funny thing is? The hood is into Bitcoin and crypto.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah.
I had, come on now. So like I had people reach, hey, we want to reach the black community. I'm like, you ain't got to reach the black community about crypto.
The black community, oh my God. Like, I feel like maybe it's just a today thing, or maybe it's a Baltimore thing, because where I'm at back home, it's so many people trying to get you to do Forex, trying to get you to join the little pyramid scheme. Oh my God. Like, they know about crypto. They know about foreign exchange. Like, you don't have, please stop telling black people about Forex. Please. You don't need to outrage black people. Stop.
I'm sick of the Forex shit. They the Forex me out.
They do too fucking much. But yeah, they do the same thing with Bitcoin. But yeah, black people do shit.
Yeah, like we know about that stuff, you know, but I feel like it's going to be one of those huge wealth transfers where people are going to say, oh, well, black people got into it. And I'm like, the main people, you saw the FTX scandal, Sam Bankman-Fried, and, you know.
I believe dude's last name was really Bankman. It was like so funny.
I mean, if this is a simulation, its creator has a wonderful sense of humor. Wonderful sense of humor. But yeah, we saw that, and we saw how much money that outfit donated to the Democratic Party, and how much money was assisted in raising for Ukraine. We saw that. But we also saw that as evidence of crypto is coming. Ray C, he said, God will make a way out of no way. God bless you and Hotep Nation. Salute, Ray C. You know, people like Ray C is why we're going to make it happen. Cassius Cam, he said, we've been trapping with crypto since Jump Street. For real. Shout out to Cassius Cam. He in the streets for real. Liv, man, I'm glad we had a chance to bring you on the program.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got to go nominate Liv over at grifties.com. Olivia Rondeau. Go give her a nomination and a vote. And go watch her segment on the Grifties. You go to Hotep Nation channel here on YouTube. Go down into the timestamps and below, and you can jump in and watch Liv do her thing. Liv's got a new podcast, in case you missed it, called Undoctrinated. I think the rollout was wonderful. What's that?
Indoctrination.
Undoctrination. What'd I say?
Indoctrinated.
Undoctrinated? Undoctrination. Thank you. Undoctrination. I thought the rollout was amazing.
Thank you.
It looked very, very well produced. That's why I wanted to know when it was, so I can make sure I catch the episodes. So make sure y'all get in tune with her. Her links in the description box below, including the podcast. So make sure y'all get in tune with Liv. We're going to get an audio version of this up. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But yeah, Liv, we got to get you down with crypto. We're going to get you, we're going to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? And we got to get you some master focus as well. So hit me up. You want some master focus? I got
you. Okay, bet.
All right, y'all. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good one.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Hotep and Bill.
Didn't listen to me then, I bet they feel me now. Time don't let me lose it. The booth not about to prove it. I said goes and pursue it. You the best to never do it. Invest my money talking fluent, stupid, ducking the Judas. It broke my heart, but over my eyes, you have no honor, I have no choice. Chasing the commas till I'm gone. I've been left for a minute. On my way home, mama, I promise, got caught up in it. Damn. Everybody eats when I'm batting at the plate. First, second, third, home, $1 million bet.